brand new TaylorMade driving irons. I've got two to test today. The PUDI, which is for the better player, and this one, which I'm very intrigued about, the PDHY. I've got both of them in 4 irons and 2 irons. Welcome back to H.I.T Channel. Let's give these bad boys a rip. Okay, so let's kick things off with the DHY. I'll come back to the UDI in a moment. As I mentioned, I've got this in the 4 iron and also in the 2 iron. The 4 iron's in 22 degrees of loft. I'm intrigued about this iron because it looks very enticing to hit. It's quite a chunky, long iron. Let's give it a hit. I've got this in the 4 iron and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. It does actually look good behind the ball. You can actually see just the back edge where it almost bubbles out, giving you that kind of extra boost of confidence. Not sure how far this is going to go. I'm predicting about 210 maybe. Oh, that was nice. Tiny bit thin, to be honest with you. Yeah, 200 yards total, 200 yards carry, 215 total, tiny bit thin. So what's interesting with the PDHY, or driving hybrid, the DHY stands for, is that it's a new level of versatility. So very much tour inspired shape. Certainly from that top line, I can see the kind of family of P irons that obviously TaylorMade is so successful with, but then they've just absolutely filled out the backside of it. Got a big bubble butt on the on the back of it really. It's got a very wide sole, offering more forgiveness. Also got speed foam air and a speed slot. So that's helping with those off-centered strikes to give you the most distance and forgiveness level. And the DHY is designed for height, to help the golf ball go up in the air, albeit still a driving iron over a hybrid really. Price-wise, for this one and the other version as well, £229 for obviously one single iron. If it's a club that you're going to use a lot of though, I don't think that's a terrible price. I really don't. If you're looking at a hybrid driving iron, you know, a decent quality one from one of the top brands, around about £200 is what you'd expect to pay really. Let's hit a few more with this one. This is the 4 iron as I mentioned. It's a good looking club. It's got this kind of like, almost this brushed finish, which I'm a big fan of. It's not shiny or glary. It's a very smart design. I do love how it looks behind the golf ball. I'm not the biggest fan of hybrids personally for me. I know a lot of golfers out there love hybrids. For me, they're not my biggest fan. Oh, I'm not their biggest fan, but I actually like how this is almost a bit of a blend of both. It's definitely a driving iron, but it's just got that little bit of extra support, similar to a hybrid. Oh, just like the first one, just that tiny bit thin. But let's see what those results look like. I mean, they're two very good golf shots, very similar to each other, and I didn't quite get the perfect strike. Let's hit a couple where I find the middle of the club face. Both of those were just a little bit low on the face. Still offered great results in fairness, but I know they can do better. Oh, just a tiny bit thin. There she is. That's the strike I'm looking for. Yeah, that's more like it. That was really nice. That felt so solid. Perfect. That was the best one yet. That was very nice. Okay, so I've now switched over to the 4 iron of the UDI, which is almost looks exactly the same as the DHY, just a slimmer version. More of a traditional driving iron. Obviously still got plenty of technology, speed slot, it's a hollow head design, packed full of speed foam air as well. This looks like a very similar driving iron that TaylorMade have brought out in the past. From P770 driving iron to UDI, which stands for Ultimate Driving Iron. They brought this kind of style of iron out for quite a few years now. It looks gorgeous. It's just a facelift basically. I do like this brush finish. Compared to the DHY, it's definitely slimmer. I can't see the back edge of the golf club. Doesn't mean it's not still kind of confidence boosting, because it is. It's not bladed, it's still got a little bit of chunk behind the golf ball, but you just can't see the back edge of it behind the ball. Interestingly, what I did notice, compared to the DHY, the actual UDI is just a tiny bit shorter. So it's like, I mean, less than half an inch really, but it's just worth noting. Again, same 4-iron in 22 degrees. Let's see if there's much difference with the UDI before we then move on to the 2-irons as well. Oh, that felt nice. It feels a little bit more like an actual iron, the UDI, where the DHY has that little bit more of almost a hybrid feel, albeit it still looks like an iron. That was a great shot with the UDI there. That's a nice fly. Really nice shot, that one. Oof. Just turned it over a little bit with a touch of draw, and it's added a little bit extra distance in there. Yeah, I like it. I like them both, to be honest with you. Yeah, I like them both. I'll come on to some data in a minute. Let's jump over to 2-irons next. Okay, so the PDHY 2-iron. This is a nice looking club. So 2-irons in 18 degrees. It's just that back edge just stands out so much. Not in a negative way, and I think in the past, I have looked at that. I've looked at that in a negative way, but actually now, I'm kind of looking at that and feeling inspired by it. Almost, my confidence level is going through the roof when I see that little bit of extra club behind the ball. It's not the best looking in the world. It's very similar to the Titleist 2-iron I had in the bag about 6 months ago or so. It is a beautiful looking iron. So this is a 2-iron. It's all about finding fairways. This is the club you want in your hand if you've got to find a fairway. Let's see how it flies. But 2-iron, I'm expecting this maybe to carry about 235 yards. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Did it get the distance? Not far off, but it's absolutely down the fairway. What's interesting there, full transparency, I did not hit that in the middle of the club face. That was a little bit from the toe. I mean, but it's, what was that? 3 yards offline at total distance, 241 yards. I would snatch your hand off right now for that if I needed it down an important hole. That was a slightly toey strike. Might have been why it didn't get full distance, but not disappointed with the result one bit. Oh, a little bit thin. What I want to test with this club, I was thinking this just as I stood over that shot really. It mentions how there's so much more versatility now. Let's test that. I think that first shot is a perfect example of what this club can do. Let's test it on a couple of things. Let's see how high I can literally hit this 2-iron, and also let's see how low I can hit it. Let's go for a really high one first. Oh my. That was satisfying. That was really, really satisfying. Nearly 250 yards total distance. Literally up to the moon that went height-wise then. Nice little draw, only 5 yards offline. Now, I feel that one's quite easy to hit with this club, obviously the DHY. What happens then if I want to hit it super low? I mean, that had launch angle of nearly 17 degrees. Let's see if we can get this under 10 at least. Slightly move the ball position back. Can it come out as a low driller? Slightly chunked it. But again, it's done what it said on the tin, that it's a low chaser. I think I can do slightly better strike-wise on that. But, I mean, compared to those two shots, the difference is vast. And that was, again, only 5 yards offline. Yeah, launch angle 8.5 degrees. That shows that kind of great separation. You just don't get that with a hybrid at all. Hitting this low stinger is so difficult with a hybrid. That's perfect. Little low chaser into wind, playing a links course. Yeah, I like that because I think the harder shot with the DHY would have been the low one, but it's passed with flying colours. Right, let's move over to the last club, the UDI. Now for this one, interestingly, I think the low shot is going to be easy. I think the high shot's going to be harder. Let's hit a standard one first. Looks-wise, again, so similar to UDI irons that TaylorMade have brought out. Like I say, just that brush finish, but compared to the DHY, you just don't see the back end of this club. It's really nice. I'd see a lot of tour players putting this in, certainly when they come over for the Open here in the UK. Let's hit a standard one. Oh, it feels good. That's the difference between these two irons. They look obviously different, there's no question about that, in size. Feel-wise though, this UDI feels like an iron. It does. The DHY, you don't get that feel of an iron. It is much more kind of almost a hybrid feel, like a big hollow-headed club design really. This feels like an iron. That was gorgeous. I really enjoyed hitting that shot then. Let's go one more standard shot. Then we'll do a bit of versatility testing. Well, that was a bit of a low bullet. Not on purpose, I'm not going to lie to you. I will take that down a hole though. I think the only challenge with this one is going to be hitting that high one. We'll try in a minute. I'll go one more standard one. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to get online, this club. Again, this is more inspired to kind of your better player, and obviously that should sit in my category, but it's just a little bit harder to stay online, this club. Let's go for the really low one. I feel like I could hit this club 10 feet off the ground. This is going to come out really, really low. Oh, let me do that one again. I can do better than that. There's the difference though between the two clubs. It's worth seeing. I feel like the DHY is a very important addition to this lineup. I think a lot of players maybe use the UDI and maybe don't quite have the skill set to be able to use it to its full capabilities. Come on, super low one. Oh, that's nice. But when it comes off, when it comes off, it's something pretty special. That's really nice. That is a perfect link shot. Okay, last test for the UDI. How high can it go? I got the height, but it felt like it was a little bit artificial, to be honest. I felt like I had to really force the height out of that one. I don't feel like the UDI is quite as versatile. I feel like this is more for standard and low shots, where I do actually think the DHY, you've got the middle shot, high shot and low shot in the locker, and it's more forgiving as long as you can look past the big backside on it. Okay, so looking over the data here, comparing the standard good shots I hit with DHY and UDI, there's not much of a difference. 205 yards carry with the DHY, 208 yards carry with the UDI, and the only real difference is launch angle. That DHY just goes that little bit higher, spins that little bit more, and therefore doesn't quite go as far as the UDI. And then comparing the standard shots of the two irons, you see a very similar story. The DHY launched a touch more, spun a little bit more, didn't go quite as far, albeit 228 yards is still impressive. The UDI, you can see from the flight there, came out lower, spun a little bit less, went a little bit further. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to H.I.T, and we shall see you next time.